After the presentation of the Commission's report on tax evasion and corrupt practices to the President by the Chairman of the Commission, Justice Mama Fatima Singate, we now listen to the comments made by ministers and His Excellency the President.
Your Excellency, with your kind permission, I'd like to say that one of the issues raised by Her Lordship is the issue of the consolidation of tax-related acts that we are working on, and we hope it would soon be ready for onward transmission to the Ministry of Finance. The bill on corrupt practices which you had directed has only one more step to go, and we hope that it will be presented to Parliament by the next sitting. Exactly. Yes, sir. If I may also add that almost every day one learns something new about Your Excellency, and your vision to have created this inquiry is well grounded on the fact that so many things are going or have been swept under the carpet, which you wanted to see in the interest of the nation. And we appreciate that. And I personally would want to thank the members of the Commission for the brilliant work they have done. And the rest of it, I will leave it for Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, Honorable Ministers, the Chairman of the Tax Commission, Honorable Justice Mama Fatima Singate, Commission members, members of the press, the protocol and security. Let me begin by thanking His Excellency the President for having the foresight and the wisdom in setting up this Commission of Inquiry into Tax Evasion and other corrupt practices as a continuation of Operation No Compromise. I wish to congratulate and commend all the Commission members under the leadership of the Chairman, Honorable Justice Mama Fatima Singate, for a job well done. You have requested an extension of time, but it was well deserved, and you have, delivered as expected of you. We want to congratulate you and thank you very much. This commission, this inquiry, has revealed a lot. It has shown that government has been losing a lot of revenue. Maybe some didn't know that they were supposed to do so, or maybe people do it deliberately. But it has shown that the time has come that you have to abide by the law, and that is, it is necessary that we pay our taxes. And as you indicated, Chairman, that is how government funds most of its development projects. So it has awakened people that have been sleeping or ignorant of this responsibility. So I urge everyone, all Gambians, to take this seriously, and that is the payment of taxes that is due to the state. With the setting up of this commission and the result that has been presented in this report, I think we are all up now and up to the challenge of paying our taxes. So we once again thank His Excellency the President He has always said that Operation No Compromise is, always there, and this is, a continuation of that operation. We commend you once again, Honorable Fatima, and your team, and we thank the Justice Ministry, the Aegis Chambers, for the steps that have been taken. Noting, the instructions that were given by His Excellency on this establishment of this permanent commission. I hope we are almost there. And the Tax Consolidation Act and the Build on Corrupt Practices also be finalized and set up and set the pace. So congratulations once again, and I thank His Excellency for giving us the opportunity to commend you and thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Honorable Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service. At this juncture, I'd like to call on the Honorable Minister of Petroleum.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J. Jammeh, colleague ministers here present, the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, the Chairperson of the Tax Commission, and members of the Tax Commission, members of the Protocol, Press and Security, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I also want to add my voice to that of the SG in thanking His Excellency the President for setting up this important commission, and to also thank the chairman of the commission and the other members of the commission for a very comprehensive and well articulated report, the summary of which was presented here by the chairperson. It's a very comprehensive assignment, and given the time that you had to do up, even though you had an extension of 1 month from October 2011 to date, it shows that you carried it out with a lot of dedication and the seriousness it deserves. The approach to the assignment was also something to be commended in terms of its transparency. As the chairman said, it wasn't a witch hunt. The sittings were conducted in an open court environment, and that is also commendable. In terms of the findings, I think some of us have been taken aback by the sheer numbers that you read out here today in terms of loss of revenue to government. Some of us from the beginning knew that there was something going on, but in terms of people not understanding our income and tax laws that are in place, both for public and private practitioners. And I think one of the, the positive aspects of the Commission is bringing to the fore the importance of acquainting ourselves with laws that are in place, especially when it comes to revenue, and the importance of revenue collection and payment of revenue to the state, and especially for national development. And I think some of the recommendations that you have made here today in terms of sensitization, especially for GRA staff and also taxpayers in knowing what their dues are, the importance of payment of taxes, and GRA also to be able to collect the right amount of taxes, is very, very important. And I believe all of us have something to learn here today from that. The institutional weaknesses that you have also brought to the fore here is also very, very important. Many a times we take things for granted. It's important to sometimes go back and check on institutions, processes, and see whether we have some weaknesses, institutional weaknesses, and these have also been brought to the fore. And I hope and pray that the recommendations that you have in the report will be adopted by the various institutions of government, so that at the end of the day, we would not fall back to this sort of scenario here today. I think, as the SG said, some of the defaulters defaulted not because they want to cheat the system or beat the system, but because they don't have adequate understanding or knowledge of the law and the payment of the right taxes. And I think this should be the bottom line in our approach: strengthening institutions and processes, educating the people, both the tax collectors and the taxpayers, and making sure that people know what their duties and responsibilities are as far as national development is concerned. Because for you to have or ask for national services, government has to collect revenue. You talk about the budget deficit, you talk about the domestic tax, domestic debt that is mounting 8% or more than that in just 2 years is phenomenal. I think these are the checks and balances that we need to put in place so that we know that government has to collect taxes, and it's the taxes that drive our economy, and we can only demand for services in terms of infrastructural development, health, education, etc., if we pay our taxes. So in a nutshell, I would just want to thank the Commission members for a job that has been well done and well articulated and presented, and I hope and pray that we will all learn lessons from it, both institutions and individuals, and make sure that we prevent something like this from happening again. I want to thank His Excellency once again for setting up the Commission, and thank the members for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Teremba Jaite. I now like to call on the Honorable Minister of Trade, Mr. Toure, to make a statement.
The President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, colleague ministers, Justice Singate and other members of the Commission, members of the press and the protocol, all other protocols duly observed. Let me begin also by joining the previous speakers in thanking His Excellency the President for his foresight in setting this important commission into tax evasion and other corrupt practices. Let me also thank the Commission for a job well done. This piece of report that you have submitted today, I think will go in a very long way in ensuring that government collects all tax areas that is due to it, in order to ensure that also there is fair play in the tax system. It's also a wake-up call for every taxpayer. I think everybody who is supposed to pay tax to take this as a wake-up call and to prepare ourselves as companies and individuals to ensure that we pay our taxes on time and in full. It also allows government to have access to much needed revenue that it will use for the development of, for its development agenda. As you know, as a tax-based economy, there cannot be anything more important than ensuring that the taxes are collected in time and in full. Therefore, the coming into force of this commission could not have been more timely. So once again, I think I will join my colleagues again in thanking the President for having the foresight, and thanking the Commission too for having produced such a very, very valuable piece of information that the government can use, especially to ensure that in the future we are able to collect tax in a more efficient manner and to avoid this kind of things happening in the future. So once again, I thank the Commission, and to call on the general public to take this seriously, and to particularly make reference to some of the recommendations that the Commission has made with regards to sensitization. I think the challenge now is to ensure that the recommendations that are on the report are implemented, and I have no doubt in my mind that the architect whose vision it was to set up this commission in the first place, will ensure that the recommendations in the report are implemented. Once again, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Toure. I will now call on the Honorable Minister of Finance to make a statement.
Your Excellency, first of all, we want to thank you and congratulate you for setting up this commission to look into the issues of tax evasion and other corrupt practices. I remember when the commission was being sworn in by Her Excellency the Vice President, and in my statement I indicated that it is a very difficult task, but yet it's a noble assignment to be called on to look into an issue of that importance to the state. We all acknowledge and appreciate that the Gambia is essentially a tax-based economy. The demands on the state are huge, and to meet those demands, people have to meet their basic tax obligations. And in meeting those tax obligations, there are two dimensions to it. That's the taxpayer on one side and the tax collector on the other. And I have seen in the presentation of the chairman of the commission that both sides of the equation have been assessed. I also stated during that swearing-in ceremony that yes, I'm a layman in terms of judicial processes, but looking at the scope of the assignment, I had the belief and impression then that it was too broad to be completed within 3 months. And I'm kind of reassured by the presentation that there are so many things that need to be looked at which could not have been done within the time allocated, thus the recommendations that have been proffered. Because if I listen very carefully, there is one particular recommendation that was made, the need to probably have another commission to look into the issues of customs under declarations. Your Excellency, this is a topic that has been raised by many of our local manufacturers, local companies that are producing, which have expressed year in, year out that there is serious under declarations in terms of imports, which is making local products difficult to compete. So I think that's an area, as recommended by the Commission, that is worth looking into, so that if there are anomalies, they can also be rectified, just as they have recommended. Your Excellency, I also want to thank the members of the Commission. They have done a good job. It is certainly not an easy task, but I want to believe that they have approached the work professionally and they have done it impartially, and they worth and deserve commendation from all. And to the general public, I want to say that a commission is certainly not a witch hunt exercise. It is meant to look at our systems, our processes and procedures, and proffer recommendations for improvement in the general interest of everybody. People are bound to be affected by the outcome of the findings and recommendations, but this is not meant or should be seen as witch hunt. It is meant to address a system in the general interest of the country. The country is bigger than individuals. So having done the assignment professionally, I want to believe, because I know the people that are involved and the seriousness that they attach to their work, the outcomes and the recommendations, I believe, under Your Excellency's wise guidance and leadership, will be executed. I I was really not surprised that there will be findings of this nature. I'm only taken aback by the magnitude. If at the start of the commission, if I were told that this type of magnitude would come out, I would not have believed it. But now I am really surprised that such a magnitude of under declarations, of on collections and under reporting, and this is just a small portion of taxpayers. Imagine if all the taxpayers that have recorded are reassessed, how much revenue could accrue to the state. So, Your Excellency, I think this is an exercise that is worthwhile, and we certainly look forward to maybe having the detailed report, and under your wise guidance and leadership, implementation of its recommendations. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable colleague. With your Excellency's kind permission, I want to say or repeat the statement I had made earlier, that we learn new things about His Excellency on a daily basis. Nobody ever thought that something of this nature, something of this magnitude would ever surface. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusts the fate of His people in the hands of an individual, he is always guided by that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am sure, and I have no doubt, that somewhere in his dreams or in his sleeps or in his thoughts, Allah put this in his mind, that somewhere along the line in this country, monies are being thrown away, or monies that ought to have been recovered for one reason or another are not being recovered. And as a result, he came up with the idea of this commission, gave his instructions, and instituted this commission of inquiry. It wasn't a failure. It could not have been a failure either. The revelations we have now had is unimaginable, especially on the every part of it is important, but the issue of the dot or bounce checks, that one, my Lord will agree with me that it's a strict liability offense, and I thank you very much. Since I am the chairman of this gathering, I'd like to call on His Excellency to give us his comments.
The idea of a commission on tax evasion and malpractices and, of course, corrupt practices was not a new idea that came to mind. But because commissions were set before on customs, and their revelations are nothing new to us. What prompted this inquiry is the fact that I had always been very suspicious of the amount of revenue that's lost due to duty waiver. And I had caused to give a directive that as from henceforth, and that was around 2008, I think, or 2007 to be specific, all duty waiver applications and recommendations for approval must be sent to my office for scrutiny, and before customs can give them the duty waiver. At first, there was a resistance from the then Minister of Finance. Oh, you are too busy, and I made it very clear. Oh, it's very bulky and this and that and that, and you're too busy, and you may not be able to go through that. I made it very clear to him that it wasn't his business, by the time I took up that duty upon myself, I realized that it is bulky, but I have a duty to the nation. Then I realized that each time we go through the recommendations, there were a lot of inconsistencies and ambiguity. In some instances where they know that this is definitely not true, not correct, and should be disapproved, they will come with an ambivalent position where it is up to the president to approve or disapprove, and they will not take a clear-cut position, and they are the GRA. So then it was becoming common. So wherever, and then what is also strange, people that are not entitled to any duty waiver are recommended for duty waiver, and obviously I disapprove of it. But then, all this stemmed from my experience, personal experience, in 1994, February to be specific. When I decided to take over the country, I wanted to also know how customs worked. So I told the tractor taxi driver to tell my cousin to send me a second-hand car from Germany, but not addressed to me because then they would know, but addressed to somebody under my care. So the car came, very small, I think it was a Fiat. It came, an Opel. It came to the customs and I was notified. Can you believe that it took me from February to up September 1994, and I couldn't get this vehicle out. And as soon as I took over, they wanted to send it to the gate. I said, no, the procedure is still, yes. And this was how somebody told me, who was with me in the army then. He told me, what are you doing in the army? I said, I'm serving my country. And he said, you're wasting your time. How much are you being paid? About $700 as a lieutenant. And that is every 31 days. I said, yes. He said, you're wasting your time. Here's the place to be. You receive your salary end of month. Here I receive it every day. So I was very friendly. But he didn't know. I said, thank God I'm now making a breakthrough. Then he told me of how vehicles are assessed, and I went and I saw with my naked eyes how they do things. A brand new vehicle, they would get somebody, they had a machine there at the ports that is used for sand plastering, if you know what I mean. And they will use it, yes, sand blasting, they call it. They will use it on the vehicle, and within 30 minutes, the vehicle will look like it is from the garbage dump. All the owner needs to do is just repaint it, and they had a painting booth somewhere in town. Anyway, so he said, this is what we can do. Now, he told me that, and they insisted that I should pay at that time $14,000 to move this vehicle. Somebody got his vehicle, brand new Mercedes-Benz, for $6,000. So I told him that this Fiat is smaller than this Mercedes-Benz. And then the guy ended up saying, you know what, I know you, because if anybody asks you to bribe, you go to shoot him. If you so rotted, do get it. I tell you, okay. And I told him, well, maybe I will rot in September. August, to be specific. Then we went up and down, we couldn't get this vehicle out. Then he came up with an idea. He said, you know what, we can arrange with some dockers to remove the engine, and we declare that the engine is stolen. Then in that case, the value would go down, and then you will collect the engine later, but those people, you have to pay them. I say, oh, so this is done here? He said, yes. I said, but I've not, you have to show me how. Because the guy was my friend, and but he was suspicious of the fact that I was too patient, more patient than usual. And I said, but aren't you cool these days? I said, yes, I'm cool because I badly need this vehicle. And then he said, oh, you're going to use this small vehicle to go to Fonyi? This will not last on this bad road. I told him, yes, but at least I will have a vehicle of my own. Anyway, if you look at it, it's the same trend that have been highlighted here. Three things came that I was told about, clearly stated in the report. One, they used the wrong law or the wrong section to assess your tax. Or sometimes what they do is they assess in such a way that you can pay. And in fact, in those days also, they were not taking people to court for what's it called, dot checks, bounce checks. So in fact, the guy told me, okay, what you can do, I can guarantee you give us a check. I told him I don't even have a bank account, so how can I give you a check? He said, that's easy. I can arrange somewhere, I will not name the bank, to give you just a blank bank book. I said, they will never do that. He said, yeah, they do that for us. I said, okay. But I didn't want to go into those details. So I told him, but then it's a criminal offense, and I cannot give you a check that is going to bounce. He said, you see, this is the problem. You want to be Mr. Perfect. So I told him, well, how would I join the customs if I want to? And said, you have to know somebody up, but I can arrange that. I said, okay. After he came, but you are too hot, and you are even going to create problems for us here. I know you. You're not, because we're asking you to pay just a token amount and you're not paying. Then something made me snap when I saw this brand new vehicle being blasted, sandblasted, and then the guy came and paid only $3,000. Ooh, I snapped and I told him, look, I think I've seen enough. He said, what about the vehicle? I told him, don't worry. In a few months' time, you'll be sending it to me somewhere very close by. And this is excellent. Now, guess what? When we took over, we were going round and we were talking about anti-corruption, and the guy went, long live the rebels. I said, oh, mister, you still receiving your salary every day? Then he ran away. You see, and I'm even surprised that the same methodology is what is being used today. Now, I think when you're fighting with criminals, each time you devise a mechanism, they devise a counter mechanism to defeat the purpose. We thought that the various commissions that have been set with regards to customs would have made anybody who is there change his mind. But I think I was wrong. And I must apologize to the Gambian people, because if this action was taken earlier on, I think this would have saved the Gambia a lot of money. But I can assure you that we are going to recover every bottle that is left out. Whether you appeared before the commission or not, if you have arrears, pay, because we're going to prosecute you under economic crimes laws. And those who make the biggest noise in terms of patriotism and accusing our government of corruption are the ones that are encouraging corruption. It is unacceptable. I'm really sorry. I apologize to the Gambian people that this is what has happened, but we will remedy it to the letter. There will be no compromise on this. Whether you are, some people in the legal profession think that they are above the law. I will prove to them that every Gambian is equal. We are being protected by the same laws, and we are bound to obey the same laws, whether you are a lawyer or not. We are going to recover every butut, and those who owe, who appear before the commission and their names are here, they will have sleepless nights, because they have to pay every butut of it, and we're going to prosecute them without delay. So, if those who are out think that, oh, that was just a one-off thing, you're making a grave mistake too. You better go and pay your taxes, because as opposed to the commission, we're going to set up a criminal investigation by the various security units, and if you are found wanting, you're going to be prosecuted right away, instead of having the luxury of appearing before a commission and then making your arguments there, because this is very, very clear. Those in customs too, we've been firing and hiring, and then I was asked to make a ceasefire. I made a big mistake by accepting the ceasefire. I think if you remember, we were inaugurating their building when I gave a warning. And I think no Gambia would blame me if I take drastic action now, because at that time, during that session, I warned that heads were going to roll. Heads were rolling, and then they appealed. They came, so many people in the government, ministers came and said, okay, give them a chance. And this I did. I made a big mistake. This time around, I will not repeat the same mistake. There will be no mercy for those who think that they can get away with tax evasion or cheat the government. I think the Minister of Finance talked about two parties. Now, if the policeman is a member of the gang of thieves, then the society is in danger. This is exactly what has happened. Excessive greed, you can call it. There's no way you can justify such blatant act of sabotage, economic sabotage, and this is unacceptable. If those who are supposed to enforce revenue laws become criminals, then the state is having a serious problem, and we are not going to condone this. Some of the people that are directly mentioned in the report were people that were fired before, and ministers came to my office almost in tears. Oh, if you do that, this and that and that. And then they wanted to blackmail me by saying that the entire GRA were demoralized by the actions taken against those people. I'm also not surprised that the recommendation also talked about the board. Because I've always been, each time you fire somebody, they give justification as to how the person was hardworking and whatever, and they're doing very valuable services to the GRA. And my question has always been this, which has never been answered. If the person drops dead, would that mean the end of the GRA? That's certainly not. But when we give a human being the impression of indispensability, this is what you get. And as from now, if I deal with anybody, I don't want anybody to come and appeal to me. Not long ago, I've been firing people, and then people who don't even know themselves or don't even know their names, they are criticizing me for dismissing people. I have a duty which I have sworn, and I will carry the duty to the letter. Now, not only would we dismiss people, but we are going to prosecute you before we let you go, because people think, oh, you can steal and be dismissed, and after a few days you just set up your business. This is not going to happen in this country. We're going to put an end, a definitive end to corruption in this country by any means possible. And I mean by any means possible. How you interpret it is up to you. But we're going to stop corruption by any means possible. Sometimes when they bring these figures, they write to my office, revenue collector. Not long ago, it was on the Observer. And people thought that, oh, that was a good job. The GRA, they are doing a good job. when I look at this figure that they sent to my office, the question is, and they expect me to praise them, and there was even a crazy idea that we should give them bonus. I said, bonus for what? They're doing their job for which they are, in fact, they're not even doing their job, and they're even being overpaid. And I made it very clear that if proper collection is done, this country would not have a budget deficit. I think I've been telling you this, I've been telling others, that a lot of tax revenue that belongs to the state and to the people of this country is going into private pockets. You say we lose, it's lost. It's never lost. It goes into the wrong pockets. But government is losing. When you say, oh, it's not collected, of course it's collected. You think they don't know all these taxes? They go and collect them. And they are very intelligent, where their intelligence has backfired. Now when they build houses, they don't put their names or put the names of their close relatives. They put the names of people who cannot even own one bulb, electric bulb, and they build magnificent compounds in their name. You see, the Land Commission has exposed that. You know, that was why so many compounds were not claimed. Now, after a while, after the expiry date, the notice has been given and the expiry date has passed, some people now come and say, oh, we own it. Say, good. And somebody recommend that we should, they have shown papers. It is not enough to show a document that you own the property. You have to prove how you got it in the first place. And this is where we are. And those people that came out to claim that they own the properties are asked to prove three things. One, how they financed it, how they got it, who built it, and what was the duration, and a copy of the authentic contract with the builder. Now, if you come with all this, then we will give you the property. Also, you have to prove how you got the money. Because if you are not working and you're building something like that, you have to tell us where you're getting the money from. And so, I think Gambians should know why I'm firing people. Is it a pleasure? No. Would their salaries come to me? What would I gain by firing people? Nothing. But I gain a lot by firing corrupt people because they are a menace to society. The society becomes safer. The civil service becomes cleaner and neater. Then I can always go and sleep. You think I always sleep? No, because when there's a project, I always think of how much of that project fund would be going to the private pockets and thereby deprive the Gambian people of what rightly belongs to them. We want to thank you for a job well done. And of course, this is the first time that normally the law says that when a commission presents the report, they don't go into details of their findings, and it is up to the government to come up with a white paper. But I think it is by providence that you overlooked that part and you went into detail so that everybody would know, because this is also helping us in the event that we come out with drastic measures. They say, oh, we don't think this is what the commission really found. But I must also apologize to the chairman of the commission and the commissioners, because it is also stated in the law that when a commission is set up, there is what we call honorarium for the commissioners. And I'm surprised and shocked that this is the second time we are having a commission, and throughout the commission's lifespan, nothing has been paid. And even more shocking than is the fact that even you have to take credit to bind the report, which is unacceptable. So, well, I'm giving my government 24 hours to not only settle the cost of the binding, but I think there was an amount that was computed. You will have it before end of work tomorrow. So SG, the Minister of Finance, and the AG, you have up to midday tomorrow to make sure that they are fully paid. Otherwise, you will face my commission myself. And you know what that means. And this is one of the most dangerous work you can do in this country. They know how many times they receive anonymous calls threatening them. But what you should remember is that as long as you are doing something good, cleaning the bad elements, Allah is always on your side. So don't care marabouts or whatever they tell you. If their marabouts worked, they wouldn't have faced you in the first place. Because, well, well, the English would say prevention is better than cure. So if a doctor cannot prevent a disease and cannot also cure it, and they come and say, wait until my doctor sees me, you tell the guy to go to hell. He's joking. So if the marabouts work, you wouldn't have called them in the first place. You see, we have a long way to go. A long, hard way to go. Not because of deficiency in resources, but deficiency in honesty. This is the crux of the matter. But unlike the former government, I'm ready to die to make sure this country is clean and is developed. I'm not going to compromise on this. My principle, I will not compromise. I don't care who is involved. As long as you are on the wrong side of the door, we will deal with you. I don't care an uncle, I don't care a cousin, I don't care a brother or whatever. I don't care. Corruption, we will fight it tooth and nail. Once again, we want to thank you for doing a very good job. And we will always knock at your doors. Next time we need your services. Unfortunately, I was told of a legal technicality for the chairman by the Attorney General, but we will look into that technicality and see how best. But one, we will have a permanent anti-corruption commission, but we will also have a full-fledged criminal investigation into all these custom dealings, so that instead of waiting for a commission report, once they find something wrong, we will be able to take the matter to court as soon as possible. But you have done a great job, and may the Almighty Allah guide and protect you, bless you, and reward you on behalf of the Gambian people. I thank you for this.